Welcome back to the Coins Quest, where today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in the world of coin collecting, the incredible tale of the 1994 no-mint mark 1-cent coin from the United States. A humble Lincoln penny that has captured the attention of collectors and treasure hunters alike because of its mysterious errors and rare minting mistakes that have made it worth a staggering $138,000. Imagine holding in your hand a small copper coin that looks just like the millions of others you see every day, yet hidden within its surface are minute imperfections, subtle minting anomalies, and unique die characteristics that make it one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever to slip into circulation. That's exactly what makes the 1994 no-mint mark penny so captivating, a seemingly ordinary coin with extraordinary worth, one that demonstrates how even the smallest details can turn pocket change into a fortune. To truly understand why this coin has skyrocketed in value, we must journey back to the early 1990s, when the U.S. Mint was transitioning between minting technologies and facing challenges related to die wear, planchet composition, and striking precision. The Lincoln Cent, featuring the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, had already become a cornerstone of American currency since its first release in 1909. However, by 1994, even with advanced machinery, small minting inconsistencies still occasionally escaped the mint's quality control system, allowing error coins to enter circulation unnoticed. The absence of a mint mark on a 1994 penny indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which during that time often produced coins without a mint mark. But not all 1994 no-mint mark pennies are created equal. Some of them display extremely rare errors that dramatically increase their value. The most notable of these errors include off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, planchet errors, and even missing or faint details in Lincoln's profile or the reverse design. Each of these mistakes can make the coin unique, and collectors value uniqueness above all else. For instance, one of the most astonishing varieties of the 1994 no-mint mark penny features a strong double die on the obverse side, where Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1994, show visible doubling under magnification. This kind of doubling occurs when the coin die is improperly aligned during production, causing the design to be struck twice at slightly different angles. When this happens, every affected coin carries that same doubled image, making it both a rare collectible and a piece of minting history. Another highly sought-after variant of the 1994 penny includes an off-center strike, where the design is noticeably shifted away from the coin's center, sometimes cutting off part of Lincoln's head or the outer rim lettering. Depending on the degree of the off-center strike, the value can range from hundreds to thousands of dollars. But when the error is dramatic yet still preserves visible date and design elements, it becomes a true gem worth tens of thousands. Even more fascinating are the planchet errors found on some 1994 pennies, where the coin may have been struck on a foreign or transitional metal blank instead of the standard copper-plated zinc planchet used in that era. Since 1982, pennies were mostly made of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper plating. But occasionally older copper planchets from pre-1982 production or experimental planchets could have been mistakenly used in 1994 minting batches. When discovered, such coins are highly prized because they represent minting anomalies that should not exist in normal production runs. In addition to these striking errors, collectors have also documented die cracks and die breaks in the 1994 no-mint mark penny, where the metal die used to stamp the coins develops small fractures after prolonged use. These cracks appear as raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface and can take on dramatic shapes, sometimes even creating what collectors refer to as cuds, where a portion of the design is completely missing due to a piece of the die breaking away. These flaws, although accidental, turn the coin into a one-of-a-kind artifact from the minting process, and when combined with its no-mint mark feature, they become extremely valuable to numismatists. Another error that makes some 1994 pennies so desirable is the broad strike, in which the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally forms its perfect circular edge. This causes the penny to spread out larger and thinner than usual, creating an unmistakable and collectible misprint. In rare cases, the coin may even exhibit multiple errors at once, such as a double die combined with a die crack or an off-center strike, multiplying its uniqueness and therefore its market value. But what makes the 1994 no-mint mark penny worth up to $138,000 isn't just the error itself, it's the combination of condition, rarity, and collector demand. Coins that are found in pristine, uncirculated condition, often graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, command significantly higher prices than those with wear. A mint-state era penny with full details, vibrant luster, and visible doubling or striking flaws can easily cross the six-figure mark at auction, especially when authenticated and publicized as a rare discovery. Over the years, several examples of the 1994 no-mint mark penny with notable errors have been auctioned for jaw-dropping prices, stunning both collectors and casual enthusiasts. These sales highlight just how passionate the numismatic community can be about such rare pieces of American coinage. It also reminds everyday people that treasures can still be found in their own pockets, jars, or forgotten piggy banks. Each 1994 penny tells a small story about its journey through time and the intricate process of how coins are made, inspected, and distributed. The minting process itself is a marvel of engineering. Blank planchets are fed into presses at lightning speed, struck with thousands of pounds of pressure to impress the design, and then ejected into bins for counting and packaging. Even the slightest deviation in this process, whether from a worn die, a misaligned press, or an incorrect metal composition, can produce the kinds of anomalies that create these valuable error coins. Beyond their monetary value, these coins serve as tangible links to American history and craftsmanship. They capture the imperfections of a mechanical process that strives for precision, revealing the human and technical elements behind mass production. For collectors, owning a coin like the 1994 no-mint mark penny with unique errors is like possessing a piece of a puzzle that tells the story of both the U.S. Mint and the evolution of currency itself. Enthusiasts often say that what makes such coins special isn't just their rarity, but the thrill of discovery. The excitement of realizing that something so small and overlooked can hold immense historical and financial significance. Some collectors even dedicate years to searching for these elusive varieties, armed with magnifying glasses, reference books, and online communities where discoveries are shared and celebrated. The hunt for rare pennies has become more than a hobby, it's a passion, a quest for knowledge, and sometimes even a ticket to financial reward. The 1994 no-mint mark penny worth $138,000 symbolizes this dream perfectly. It shows that luck, attention to detail, and curiosity can converge in the most unexpected ways. Finding one in circulation is like striking gold, but even studying these coins teaches valuable lessons about history, science, and economics. What's equally fascinating is how grading agencies determine the value of such coins. When a 1994 penny is submitted for evaluation, experts meticulously analyze every aspect under high magnification: the luster, strike quality, surface preservation, and the nature of the error. Each of these characteristics contributes to its final grade, which can dramatically influence its market price. A coin graded as MS65 or higher, with a rare error, can instantly command 5- or 6-figure bids among serious buyers. Some collectors prefer raw, ungraded coins because they enjoy the hands-on experience of discovery, while others rely on certified authentication to ensure they are investing in genuine pieces. The market for such error coins has only grown stronger with time, especially as more people become aware of their existence through online videos, articles, and social media. Platforms like YouTube have played a major role in reigniting interest in coin collecting, and stories like the 1994 penny worth $138,000 have inspired countless viewers to check their change for potential treasures. This growing curiosity has created a new generation of hobbyists who understand that coins are not just currency but tiny works of art that can reveal incredible secrets. The composition of the 1994 penny also adds another layer of intrigue. Being primarily zinc with a thin copper coating, it's susceptible to certain types of minting flaws that don't appear in older, solid copper cents. Next, 1970 D1 cent USA coin. We turn our focus to another astonishing coin that has captivated collectors, historians, and fortune seekers alike. The 1970 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent coin, a copper masterpiece that, due to rare minting mistakes and nearly impossible to find errors, has become worth an unbelievable $342,000. Just imagine it, a coin so common in appearance, so small and lightweight, yet so phenomenally valuable that it could change someone's life overnight if discovered in an old jar, a drawer, or even in loose change. This is not just a story about money, it's a story about craftsmanship, history, and the perfection-seeking process of minting that sometimes, through an unexpected twist of error, produces something far more valuable than intended. To understand the true worth of the 1970 D penny, we first have to look at the period in which it was minted. The Denver Mint in 1970 was operating at full throttle, producing millions of Lincoln cents for circulation across the United States. This was a time when the U.S. Mint was balancing modernization with tradition, and even though technology was improving, human oversight and machinery imperfections meant that not every coin came out exactly as planned. Most of these pennies were struck perfectly, with the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, symbols of history, strength, and continuity. Yet, among those millions, a few rare specimens escaped into circulation carrying the marks of minting errors so subtle yet so significant that decades later, they would be hailed as some of the most valuable coins in the Lincoln series. One of the most famous and sought-after varieties of the 1970 D penny is the 1970 D doubled die obverse. A stunning error that occurs when the coin die used to strike the design becomes misaligned between impressions. In such cases, the details of Lincoln's face, the inscriptions, "Liberty in God We Trust," and the date, 1970, show visible doubling when magnified. Collectors who find such a coin can hardly believe their eyes because this doubling isn't just a faint blur, it's often sharp enough to be noticed even without a magnifier. The doubled die effect gives the coin a ghostly or shadowed appearance, a kind of accidental artistry that turns an ordinary penny into a six-figure collectible. Coins like these are incredibly rare, and their rarity drives their astronomical value. Some of these doubled die 1970 D pennies have fetched prices exceeding $300,000 at high-profile auctions, and their stories continue to inspire treasure hunters to check every penny carefully. But the double die is just one of several possible errors that can make the 1970 D penny so valuable. Another major category of valuable errors comes from striking misalignments, coins struck off-center or with partial designs that reveal how the minting press malfunctioned during production. Off-center strikes happen when the planchet, or blank coin, fails to sit properly in the collar before being struck by the dies. Depending on the degree of the misalignment, you may see a portion of the design missing, with blank metal showing on one side. The more dramatic and complete the off-center error, the higher its value, especially when both the date and mint mark remain visible. A 1970 D penny with a 50% off-center strike and visible date could easily command thousands of dollars, while one with additional die cracks or doubling could soar even higher in price. There are also 1970 D pennies that feature broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its intended border because the collar die failed to hold it in place. These broad-struck coins have a slightly pancaked look, with wider edges and distorted lettering. Such errors, while less dramatic than off-center strikes, are still rare enough to attract serious interest from collectors who seek every possible variation of minting anomaly. Even more fascinating are the planchet errors associated with this coin. The 1970 D penny was made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc, but occasionally, blanks intended for other denominations or foreign contracts were fed into the presses by mistake. For instance, there have been documented cases of Lincoln cents struck on dime planchets or on foreign coin stock, making them smaller, lighter, or with different metal coloration. These wrong planchet errors are extremely rare and instantly elevate a coin's value into the tens or hundreds of thousands, depending on condition and authentication. The thought that your penny might actually have been struck on a planchet meant for another country or denomination adds another layer of intrigue that keeps collectors searching relentlessly. One of the most talked about varieties of the 1970 series isn't from the Denver Mint, but from San Francisco, the 1970s small date and large date varieties. While the Denver Mint didn't officially produce these varieties, confusion among collectors has sometimes led to crossover interest, especially when the D Mint mark coins display oddities that resemble the S Mint errors. However, the D Mint coins with misstruck or misplaced mint marks are a whole category of fascination themselves. During the 1970s, mint marks were still hand-punched into the dies, which meant that human error could easily cause a mint mark to appear in the wrong position, at an odd angle, or even doubled. A 1970 D penny showing a repunched mint mark (RPM), where the D appears doubled or shifted, can be worth a small fortune depending on the visibility of the error. In top mint state condition, some repunched mint mark examples have been known to fetch over $10,000. When coupled with other errors such as doubling, off-centering, or die cracks, the total value multiplies dramatically. Speaking of die cracks, these fascinating features tell another part of the 1970 D penny story. Over time, the dies used to strike coins endure enormous pressure, sometimes hundreds of thousands of strikes before being retired. As they wear down, microscopic fractures begin to form on their surface. When these cracks grow large enough, they transfer onto the coins as raised lines or irregular blobs, often referred to by collectors as cuds. These cuds can appear anywhere on the coin, from Lincoln's profile to the edges or even across the reverse side where the Lincoln Memorial is displayed. Because no two die cracks are identical, each coin with such an imperfection is truly one of a kind. Larger or more dramatic die breaks can make a 1970 D penny especially desirable to collectors who specialize in error coins. In addition to these visible minting mistakes, another factor that adds immense value to the 1970 D penny is condition. Coins that have remained in pristine, uncirculated condition for decades are rare because most pennies are handled, spent, and circulated countless times before being saved. The 1970 D penny in mint state condition, especially with a notable error, is a numismatic gem. Professional grading services such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, play a crucial role in evaluating these coins, confirming authenticity, and assigning a grade based on strike sharpness, luster, and surface preservation. A high-grade error coin can command exponentially more money than one in average condition. Now, you might wonder how a penny that cost the mint less than 1 cent to produce could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The answer lies in the fundamental principles of rarity and demand. Collectors thrive on uniqueness, coins that tell a story, that bridge the gap between accident and artistry. The 1970 D penny's extraordinary value doesn't come from its composition but from its unrepeatable imperfections. Each mistake tells a story about the minting process, about the humans and machines that work together to produce perfection and sometimes fall short. That slight misalignment or doubling represents a fleeting moment in the mint's production history, captured forever in metal. Over the years, stories have surfaced of people discovering these valuable coins in ordinary places, an inherited coin jar, a forgotten piggy bank, or even in pocket change after buying coffee. Each story reinforces the belief that treasures still exist in circulation, waiting for sharp-eyed individuals to spot them. The excitement of finding such a coin fuels the global fascination with error coins, turning everyday people into amateur numismatists almost overnight. Some collectors have even built entire careers or collections around such discoveries, meticulously cataloging and trading varieties of Lincoln cents that showcase America's minting evolution. It's worth noting that the 1970 D penny is also part of a historical period in coinage when the United States was experimenting with different alloys and production techniques. Though copper remained dominant until 1982, small variations in the metal mixture, planchet quality, and striking force occasionally created unusual surface characteristics. Some 1970 D pennies display anomalies like weak strikes, incomplete lettering, or ghost-like impressions of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. While not all of these are high-value errors, they illustrate the fascinating imperfections that occur in mass production and help collectors identify potential rarities. Next, 2002 1 cent USA coin. Today's story will absolutely astonish you, because we're exploring the fascinating world of the 2002 no mint mark 1 cent coin, a humble Lincoln penny that, due to rare and remarkable minting errors, has become worth an unbelievable $49,000 to collectors. Yes, you heard that right. A modern penny from 2002, something millions of Americans have handled without a second thought, can be worth more than a brand new luxury car. How could such a recent coin, one that's barely 2 decades old, achieve such staggering value? The answer lies in its subtle imperfections, unintentional mistakes, and minting anomalies that turn a common coin into a collector's dream. So sit back and join us on this deep dive into the mesmerizing story of the 2002 no mint mark penny, the modern marvel of minting errors and the symbol of how even in our high-tech age, perfection still escapes the minting machines every now and then. To begin understanding the 2002 no mint mark penny, we must first remember that coins struck without a mint mark typically originate from the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest minting facility in the United States. Unlike Denver or San Francisco coins, which proudly display their D or S marks beneath the date, Philadelphia coins often go without one. At first glance, a 2002 penny without a mint mark seems entirely normal. After all, billions were struck that year, and most are made of copper-plated zinc, weighing about 2.5 grams. Yet among those countless coins, a few rare pieces have emerged carrying strange deformities, doubled designs, missing layers, or even wrong planchet strikes, all of which elevate them from pocket change to prized collectibles. The Lincoln Cent design, still iconic in 2002, features the beloved portrait of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. A design introduced in 1959 to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday. By 2002, the Mint had been producing these memorial reverse pennies for over 40 years, and though the design was well refined, the machinery that produced them was still vulnerable to minor mechanical and human errors. Sometimes, those errors occurred at just the right moment, on just the right planchet, and the result was a coin that would become nearly priceless to collectors decades later. Among the most sought-after varieties of the 2002 no mint mark penny are those with double die errors. These are coins where certain parts of the design, usually the date, lettering, or details of Lincoln's face, appear doubled, ghosted, or slightly shadowed. This happens during the die creation process when the hub imprints the design onto the die more than once at slightly different angles. A double die coin is instantly recognizable under magnification. You can see a distinct doubling in the words, "Liberty in God We Trust," or in the numbers of the date, 2002. While some minor doubling can be attributed to machine doubling, a common but low-value anomaly, true doubled dies have clear, strong separation lines and command high prices in the collector market. When such a doubling appears on a coin in pristine mint state condition, it becomes a major numismatic discovery, one that can easily sell for tens of thousands of dollars. Another variety of the 2002 no mint mark penny that's gaining attention is the off-center strike. Imagine a penny where Lincoln's portrait is shifted slightly to one side, leaving part of the coin blank or cutting off portions of the design. These off-center coins occur when the blank planchet isn't properly centered between the striking dies. Depending on how off-center it is, the coin can show a portion of blank metal on one edge and compressed details on the opposite side. Collectors value these based on the degree of the misalignment. Typically, the more dramatic the shift, the rarer and more desirable the coin. A 2002 penny that's 50% off-center with a visible date and strong details can fetch thousands of dollars, especially in uncirculated condition. Then there are broad strike errors, which happen when the retaining collar, the metal ring that keeps the coin perfectly round during striking, fails to engage. When this occurs, the metal spreads out beyond its intended diameter, giving the coin a pancake-like appearance. A broad-struck 2002 penny without a mint mark is instantly noticeable. It will feel slightly larger and thinner, with softer details at the rim. Though broad strikes are rare, they're incredibly popular among collectors because they visually demonstrate a clear minting malfunction point. One of the most intriguing error types for 2002 pennies involves planchet errors, especially wrong planchet strikes. In some cases, a 2002 penny was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a foreign coin or even a dime, nickel, or other denomination. Because the U.S. Mint produces coins for several other countries and sometimes runs multiple metals through similar machinery, a wrong planchet can occasionally slip through. For instance, a penny struck on a dime planchet will be smaller and silver-colored instead of copper, yet still carry the 2002 design. These are among the most valuable of all errors. One such 2002 no-mint mark penny struck on a dime planchet was authenticated by PCGS and sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Its combination of rarity, uniqueness, and visual appeal made it a top-tier collectible. Even more subtle but fascinating are plating errors. Since 1982, U.S. pennies have been made of zinc cores coated in a thin layer of copper. Sometimes this copper plating doesn't adhere properly, leading to bubbles, blisters, or peeling on the coin's surface. While most of these coins are simply odd-looking, some have plating flaws so dramatic that they become collectible. For example, a 2002 penny showing large unplated areas exposing the silvery zinc underneath can be quite valuable, especially if the error occurred during minting rather than post-production damage. In such cases, experts determine authenticity by examining the edges and strike quality to confirm it's a true minting error. Then there's the fascinating category of die cracks and die chips, which can occur when the dies used to stamp the coins begin to fatigue or fracture after striking hundreds of thousands of pieces. As a result, small raised lines, bumps, or blobs appear on the coin's surface, sometimes around Lincoln's head, sometimes across the letters or near the date. These imperfections are like fingerprints of the minting process, each one unique. Larger or more distinctive die cracks, particularly those forming patterns or shapes, like a line across Lincoln's face or a blob that looks like a crown or horn, can fetch high prices because they give the coin character and individuality. Collectors affectionately nickname these errors based on their appearance, and certain varieties of 2002 pennies with prominent die chips have become especially sought after online. Another extraordinary type of error involves clipped planchets. These occur when the metal sheet from which coin blanks are punched overlaps improperly during blanking, resulting in planchets with missing curved sections. When struck, these clipped coins have a distinctive crescent-shaped bite missing from their edge. A 2002 no-mint mark penny with a cleanly clipped edge, especially if accompanied by other minor errors like off-centering or doubling, becomes a premium collectible. Clipped planchets are tangible proof of how small lapses in the manufacturing process can yield coins of immense rarity and charm. Now let's talk about condition and preservation, two of the most vital factors in determining value. A 2002 no-mint mark penny with errors in mint state, MS condition, meaning it's never been in circulation and retains its original luster, can be worth many times more than one that's been handled or shows wear. Coins graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, can command huge premiums at auction. It's this combination of error type, rarity, and condition that propels certain coins into the five-figure range. So how exactly did a penny from 2002 reach such astronomical prices, especially one so seemingly modern? The answer lies in how collectors perceive rarity and historical significance. Modern coins with significant mint errors are far rarer than older ones because today's minting technology is so advanced. When an error slips through, it's considered a modern marvel, a fluke so rare that it instantly becomes a legend. Unlike the early 20th century error coins, which were more common due to manual processes, a major 21st century mint error represents a technological anomaly. The 2002 no-mint mark penny that sold for around $49,000 is believed to have multiple compounded errors, possibly involving a double die, a broad strike, and a planchet flaw. When authenticated and sold at a major auction, it shattered expectations for what a modern penny could be worth.